I was just wondering what tips you have on the final mixdown in terms of processing individual channels and return channels, and also how you reference your tracks so they sound at a club the way they do in the home studio.
Right. First thing, if you can, don't make your own master. For two reasons. Because after you worked on a track, for example, this one for 6 months, the last thing that you want to do is listening one more time and have the final decision on how it's going to sound. I know a lot of DJs actually want that. They want to be like, I am the guy who's going to master my track, and I don't want anyone else to touch my track. I'm not like that for two reasons. Because yes, after 6 months, I don't think you have a right idea of what your track is going, especially on the mastering side. And another reason is it's nice to have someone else putting his ideas and his experience into something. I'm not selfish in that kind of thing, so I'm really open to have someone else mastering the track. And another reason is that if the master engineer screw up, he did it, not me. uh, but yeah, if he does, I mean, you can always say it sounds bad in this part. It's too compressed. It's too there's too much bass. Blah blah blah, and he can always fix it. In terms of mixing, yes, I'm quiet. I don't know if you can see here, but I usually start with everything at minus 6 dB, so that you have enough room. You can put like, you can have 107. No, those are fake. Those are the example ones. But yeah, you can have like 115 channels playing together and not have clip, which is good. And at the end, what they're gonna do at the mastering studio anyway, even if your track is like minus 6 or minus 12 dB, they're gonna rape it and make it like sound like it's destroying buildings if you turn it up too loud. So I'm never too concerned on how quiet I am. I'm actually more concerned of how loud I am, of course. So yeah, definitely. For when I make music, first thing is everything at minus 6 dB on the fader. That doesn't necessarily mean that's gonna the peak is gonna be at minus 6 dB. That's a reference point. I know that from there I'm quite safe. Most of the time I end up clipping anyway, because you are at minus 6 dB, but then you add EQ, you add distortion, you add a whole bunch of things, and it's gonna get the level up anyway. So, but at least you don't clip like after 3 sounds. You clip after 100. That's or 60, but still it's a good starting point. Then okay, as you can see here, there's a lot of. This is my master channel. The only thing that is engaged right now, it's gain reduction. I have a minus 10.5 dB of gain reduction. Old sound engineer or old school sound engineer would probably shot him. You would probably see a red dot right now here because you don't touch the mastering volume. That's what I learned at school. It works on the analog word. I'm not really sure it works on the digital word anymore. You can turn the level down, and the quality of the audio doesn't really get messed up. And once again, I can have a track that peaks at minus 5, or in this case, it peaks on the master at minus 6 or minus 5 dB. So the mastering engineer will have a lot of headroom to play around, and we'll have to work a little bit more to smash my track. But you can see there's a lot of things. There's equality, which is an amazing EQ. There's the glue. I should actually get paid by those people for showing this plugin. But yeah, there's a lot of This is a maximizer. Then there's a compressor, bus compressor, and EQ. And sometimes I work with those on just because I want to have a feeling of what the track is going to sound like when the mastering engineer works on it. Of course, it's not going to sound exactly the same, but what the mastering engineer is going to do is compression, EQ, and of course limiting. So uh, then, of course, maybe they do a mid-side compression and all those awesome tricks that they will never tell you, even if you torture them. But I mean, pretty much this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get an extra EQ, compression, and some limiting. So I put them in a way that I know where the sound is gonna go, and I can have the feeling of the actual finished mastering. And when you actually put some compression and limiting, some sound actually get louder than the way you want it. So okay, I can say, oh, right, now that I have the L2 on, the clap is too loud. It stands out too much. So I go back and lower the clap. Or the compressor, it's showing that there's crazy peaks, and so I'm going, and the reaction of the compressor is different than what I want. So I go back and fix those things. So normally I don't play with, I don't make music with the mastering chain active. But when I'm mixing and I want to fine tune my mix, I occasionally turn it on, do some minor adjustment over there. I also try to test it in as many environments as possible. Another thing that I usually do when I mix is put my headphones on, the iPod headphones, those horrible white things, because it's funny, but at the end, literally 70% of the people are gonna listen to your music through that. So yes, you want your track to be awesome in the club because it's gonna play there, but you also want it to play properly on those little speakers. So I definitely run a test over there as well, and I also do this kind of unconventional kind of things, like leaving the room and, like, for example, going upstairs when the music is playing, and from there I can have a different perspective on the mix, and I know it's okay. You only perceive the bass and maybe some percussion, but I like to hear different the sound reacting in different room as well. It helps me out sometimes. Another thing that I do is playing the track pitched up or pitched down. I mean, in terms of actually speed it up, like vinyl pitch up and vinyl pitch down, so that I alternate the tempo and the tone. That helps me find artifacts that you sometimes don't hear. So yeah, it's a lot of different tricks, especially trying to have the different environments where you listen to your music. But of course, the proper mix is done with the really nice speakers, and not too loud, because when your ears get tired, you can't do anything anymore. You don't even your judgment is completely wrong. You hear something that's too loud, and then you open it the day after, and it's too quiet. So yeah, music definitely not too loud, and which my girlfriend might have something to say about that, but it's not loud for me. And yeah, then as you can see, there's a lot of high cut. Yeah, I cut the low frequency. Sorry, so low cut. Yeah, for example, this part. I mean, so this is the cut of these low frequencies are usually here, and right now everything that is below this line is not playing. That you can't hear it because it's taken away from the equalizer. And you can see that I pretty much did the same on a whole bunch of channels. This is the percussion, I suppose. Yes. Because first of all, percussion, except a few kind of percussion like toms or some special hi-hats, but let's say that toms go really low on frequencies. The other elements, hi-hats, clap, whatever else we can put into the percussion doesn't really need low frequencies. Um, and the fact that it doesn't need it doesn't mean that those elements don't have low frequency. They have it. I mean, let's try play this sound, whatever it is. There is low frequency, right? Can you tell the difference? It's little, but it's something that we don't need. It's not going to make any difference in our track. Not any good difference if it's there. It's going to make a lot of difference if it's not there, because this part, it's where our kick is going to be, and our kick and bass are going to be. So we want to leave as much room as possible right there. So everything that doesn't need those frequencies can have them taken off. So yeah, you can see it's pretty much everywhere. Say if you look up here, it's pretty much everywhere, if not everywhere. Yeah, that's to make room on the frequency spectrum. So everything that doesn't have bass that you need, cut the bass frequencies because you won't need it. Leads usually don't need bass frequencies, or if they do, what I usually do now in this project, you can't really see it, but in other project, if there's a lead that has a bass support, like in this case where the Moog was playing, but then the lead is gonna keep going with kick and bass as well. What I'm gonna do is have the bass lead going until the point where I put the kick in, and then take that layer out when the kick and bass are going to play, because we don't hear that, we don't need that, and it's only going to create problems. So either work with automation if you need some bass in like a breakdown or in a place where there's no kick and bass, and so you can bring the bass in of some sound that you need to have bass, and when you're back to kick and bass, just automate it and take the bass back, take the bass away again. So yeah, then it's a lot of EQ, a lot of compression, like pretty much everyone. As you can see, there's a lot of filter shape that is that sidechain plugin. Once again, not the sidechain is not necessarily done to create pumping and create flow, but it helps making room as well. It definitely helps on the flow, but let's say we have a long I don't know, like a long hi-hat, and the tail is gonna overlap with I don't know, with something else. For example, the clap. So they're pretty much on the same frequencies. The frequencies might clash together. We just put a side chain. Our hi-hat technically is gonna hit over here, and it's gonna play until here, where our kick is gonna come in, and of course it's gonna loop back to here. It's gonna lower our volume, our tail of the hi-hat, and bring it back right for when it has to start again. So it's just a lot of little tricks to help making room for the kick and the bass first. That's the most important part, which is because especially is where the clip is gonna happen. Most of the times, you have a kick, you have a bass. If you put something else, probably it's gonna clip. Of course, if you are at minus 6 dB in the fader, it's gonna take a little bit more. But there's a lot of tricks that you can do that. Sidechain, killing the bass frequencies. That's definitely my my first thing for mixing. Then panning as well, taking stuff out from the center. Once again, kick and bass is always on the center. For the same reason that I explained, when you want the bass to be there. At the same time, you want the bass to be in the center because both of your ears want to feel it. So let's go back to bass. Whoops, that was loud. No, sorry. So I move the bass, and it feels like I move the whole song. I mean, the bass has so much. It's so important in a track that if it's not center, I mean, you can move it left and right if there's some kind of effect that you want to do, but for the whole song, if it's not in the center, it's gonna ruin completely the balance of your track.
It's coming up on 10 o'clock. Everybody and Dave's got a show to get to, so maybe we do one last question. Is that cool? Awesome.
Huh? Okay.
Well, is it working? Is it working? Congratulations on having your track on State of Trance last week. That was pretty nice. I heard this morning, said, hey, I know that one. Question, do you ever use a MIDI keyboard or do you just noodle around on your laptop? You may not have room on a plane, I assume, but when you're in your studio?
It's definitely a keyboard that, once again, usually look like a monkey tapping on a computer because they can't really play a piano. But no, definitely I need to have the feeling of actually playing. Well, even because I mean, you know, it's a little bit more for yourself, self-esteem. I don't know how to say that word in English. Sorry, but I mean, you kind of feel a little bit more of a musician if you have a keyboard rather than just make music on a computer keyboard. But no, I have a 61 keys MIDI controller, MIDI keyboard. It's doing also MIDI controller, but I never use it because it takes away time from production. But yeah, I definitely need to have the feeling, especially because this keyboard only goes for like a couple of octaves, and I always like to play the bass around with the chords that I'm playing as well. It gives me more of an idea of where I want my track to go. So yeah, in the studio I have a lot of keyboards and stuff like that, and definitely have a MIDI keyboard. For this session, since it was mostly like going around and zooming in, zooming out, and playing the audio file, I didn't think it was necessary. I could definitely, it was definitely okay to just tap notes from this computer keyboard. But other than that, no, production definitely needs a keyboard. Even because it's way quicker. You want to record, you have something to record, you have an idea, and you just hit record on your Logic and play your keyboard, and it's there. You have definitely a bigger range. So yeah, definitely a keyboard. If you have doubts or you don't know whether you might want to buy a keyboard or not, definitely buy one.
Everybody, let's give David a big thank you for coming by and giving us his time and his knowledge.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you may have mentioned, but Dave's spinning tonight at Project One. So if you want to watch him in action, head over there at Potrero Hill. But again, thanks, David, very much.
Yeah, just our thing. Should we say it?
Yeah, go for it. Feel free.
Right. So for those who want to know how to make more wobbles or more lead sound or whatever, Pyramind and I decided to do a class that it's gonna be hopefully available in April. It's April. Let's say that. TBA, but let's say April. It's an online class, so you don't need to physically be here. You can sign up online, and it's going to be about synthesis in Logic. I am going to show you how to create sounds from trance tracks or house tracks. It's actually going to be like more into the creation of the sound itself, rather than just look at the synth and say, okay, the cutoff does this, and it's not going to be too academic. It's going to be really focused on sound design and, for example, how to do the wobbles or how to do the Seven Skies lead or the vision bass. So it's really going to be focused on sound design for EDM and whatever other genre of music. But with Logic synthesizer, and I think it's going to be like a really good way to learn synthesis, and really alternative. As I said, a lot of courses online, a lot of tutorials are just, this is a synthesizer, envelope does this, filter does that. Of course, I'm gonna explain that because you need to know that, but it's gonna be definitely more oriented to creating sound for your music. So yeah, just keep an eye on my Facebook, my website, or Pyramind, and yeah, it's gonna happen soon. So hope to see you there as well.
Thanks again, David. Thank you.